Today, UN Secretary General Guterres released a statement about food security in Gaza, saying, in part, Gaza is on the brink of famine. Palestinians in Gaza are enduring a humanitarian catastrophe of epic proportions. The trickle of aid must become an ocean. Food, water, medicine, and fuel must flow in waves and without obstruction. So do you agree with that assessment? I mean, how much more needs to get in there and how fast?
Look, I would agree that food, water, medicine needs to flood in there. But you know who else is hungry in Gaza? The hostages. Just yesterday, a video was released by Hamas of one of the hostages who's been held since October the 7th. If you want to see what emaciation looks like, look at his video. Those hostages have been tortured. They've not been fed. I wish the UN secretary would put as much pressure on Hamas to feed the hostages, and in fact, not just to feed them, but get them released. It's tragic what's happening there. But the greatest tragedy of all is that people are blaming Israel. And I just want to make this point. Can anyone tell me in the history of mankind, history of modern civilization, when a nation that has been attacked and have its citizens massacred, when it was the responsibility of the nation attacked to feed the people who attacked it? That's something that is really new. I've never seen this in all of history that I can recall.
Ambassador, is there daylight right now between Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Donald Trump?
Not a bit. The relationship is closer than it probably ever has been. And it's not just a relationship built on the incredible partnership between the nations. I think this most recent trip to Washington, where the Prime Minister spent a week, was a week in which these two truly bonded in a way that you'll rarely see in world leaders. And the reason, both of them have had to make some very tough decisions as it relates to dealing with Iran, dealing with some of the world crises. They made tough decisions, they made good decisions, and the results had spectacular conclusions, with both Israel and the United States going into Iran, disabling their nuclear aspirations, and doing it without the single loss of one human life, even one airplane. It's a remarkable feat, and I think they had a lot of reasons to congratulate each other, but more importantly, to work together. And people need to remember that every enemy that Israel has is ultimately an enemy of the United States. They're enemies of freedom, they're enemies of free speech and democracy, and that's why the nations are close. And we share a lot more than simply just some foundations of faith. We really share the foundations of Western civilization.
Well, you also posted on Twitter, on X, you received briefings from the Israeli Defense Forces and spoke to people there on the ground. So who exactly did you speak with, and what did you hear from them?
Well, we talked to regular soldiers, we talked to leaders, we talked to the people who are administering the aid at GHF, both GHF people as well as the people who provide the security for the distribution. But then we talked to Gaza citizens. And for me, that was maybe the most enlightening. I kind of knew what I would hear from the IDF. I thought I might know what I hear from GHF because I talk to them every day. But what I had not had was the opportunity to talk to people who live there, who have gone through the war as citizens of Gaza. And that was the most enlightening, because what they really expressed to us was their utter exasperation with how Hamas has treated them as citizens, how they have treated their relatives, the people in their families, how they've murdered so many of them. And what they look for is an end to this, where Hamas is gone. They want no part of them. And they also mentioned they don't want any part of the PLO or Fatah either. They realize that their future is going to have to be something very different than what their past has been. And that I guess the sense of commitment to that was quite the surprise for me.
Well, the global outcry over the starvation situation there in Gaza seems to further isolate Israel, by the day, it seems. So thank you so much for being the eyes and ears for us there and letting us know what you saw on the ground. U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.